You're not gonna like what comes next.
Got me feeling like a monster in my own town.
There are risks, but we have every intention of coming back.
You're like me. How?
Oh, Paddington.
I see the spark in you. It's amazing. Hands up! Whatever you choose to do with it will be great.
Who was in it?
Just some of my hopes and dreams.
Right.
First man to walk on the moon. That'd be something.
What is your goddamn problem?
People are drawn to things they shouldn't be.
How am I supposed to save the whole world?
You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person. Yeah, right.
A new year always brings reflections on the previous year's films. 2018 featured plenty of great superhero films, horror films, and numerous exciting directorial debuts. I'd like to share with you my top 10 favorite movies of 2018, along with a few honorable mentions. Let's get into it. 6 movies that just missed out on making the top 10 include Roma, Green Book, Avengers: Infinity War, Isle of Dogs, Spider-Man: Into the Spider-Verse, and Paddington 2. Number 10. Mandy. Mandy is directed by Panos Cosmatos and stars Nicolas Cage and Andrea Riseborough as man and wife that live in a secluded forest, where their simple way of things is interrupted when a cult infects their home. This movie is very much broken into different acts. The first act is very chilling in the way that you're watching very creepy individuals and the disgusting things that they do. And then the latter half of the film is just so badass and intense, and it just gets you going. And all of that is not even to mention the beautiful directing, the art direction even, the colors just look awesome in this movie. You think about the score, it all just works together so well to give off a very trippy sort of tone, at least through the first half of the movie. All in all, this movie was very satisfying, and it really surprised me with how good it was. Whether you want to classify it as a horror, a thriller, a revenge tale, it really works on all of those levels. Number 9. A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place is director John Krasinski's debut film. He of course starred in the movie alongside Emily Blunt, and even the kids did such a fantastic job. You're not going to find any bad acting in this movie. And then you take a look at the writing. I think the story was crafted very well. It took a few chances and surprising turns that worked out very well, at least in my opinion. But just the fact that 90% of this movie is without dialogue and it still is so riveting with how intense scenes actually are, it's a very impressive feat. I think the monsters were very well done, actually like legitimately scary, and they have a really cool design to them. The sounds they make, the way they look, I think they nailed it, at least on that end. Overall, just a very solid film. I know it was incredibly popular at the time, but popular for a good reason. This was a really good one. Number 8, Wildlife. Wildlife is another one of those directorial debuts, as Paul Dano is making his emergence now. He directed and partly wrote the film along with, I think it's his wife, Zoe Kazan, who is a phenomenal actress in her own right. And my God, this film is gorgeous. It is truly beautiful. Set in Montana, it's actually kind of is reminiscent, at least for me, of The Revenant, just the way that nature is captured, and that's probably due to the phenomenal cinematography. Point is, this movie looks amazing, but that's not all it is. You get Carey Mulligan giving arguably the greatest female performance of the year. I think she was utterly amazing. She'll infuriate you as a character, but all the while she is hitting it out of the park, and Jake Gyllenhaal is his usual amazing self, so you gotta love that. This movie riveted me. It had me covering my hands over my mouth and having my forehead scrunched and being so angry. It had me doing that for over half its runtime, just because it's so affecting. And I have to give credit to the screenplay, I have to give credit to the acting, the directing, all of it. It works so well. This movie's really great. It's about a family drama, essentially, as you follow a mother, father, and their son. Jake Gyllenhaal, he's the father. He has trouble finding work, so he ends up putting out wildfires, and all the while he is gone, things sort of break down in everyone's life, and it's a trip watching it, I'll tell you. But I'll look forward to Paul Dano putting out more amazing movies like this, because he has an amazing start to his directing career. Number 7, American Animals. Oh boy, American Animals was so fun. Easily one of the most entertaining films of the entire year. The story goes through the real-life events of 4 college-aged kids that must have been going through an early life crisis, we'll call it, as they were searching for meaning in their life, and their solution is, let's steal a multi-million-dollar book from our college. Be that as it may, this movie was really interesting the way they edited it together. It's shot half documentary, half movie style, so they got interview footage with the real-life criminals, we'll call them. I mean, they are, but they're likable characters, of course. Mainly the whole ringleader of this operation, he's a blast, and that obviously comes through in the movie as well, as Evan Peters gives an awesome performance. He's really, really fun. Yeah, I mean, that's really what I have to say about this movie. It's a whole lot of fun. And also, it was interesting to get into the headspace of someone that would actually go through these course of events and would plan out a heist of sorts when they're only like 22 years old and live a fairly comfortable life. Overall, great movie, lots of fun, so I look forward to watching it again, and you should watch it too. Number 6, The Sisters Brothers. And here we have another super entertaining movie. This time in the Western format. This features probably the greatest ensemble cast performance of the year. You've got Jake Gyllenhaal, Riz Ahmed, John C. Reilly, Joaquin Phoenix, who all give a masterful performance. Joaquin Phoenix really just stole the show, I think. Anytime he was on screen, it was a blast. But away from the performances, this movie had an enthralling story, as Jake Gyllenhaal and Riz Ahmed hold the secret to easily finding gold via chemistry, so the sisters brothers, John C. Reilly and Joaquin Phoenix, are sent after them to probably kill them, but mostly just to get the secret to how to easily find gold. And I mean, that's the little snapshot I'll give of it. Yeah, the story was great, performances were great, dialogue was amazing. I put a few of those moments in the montage just because there's so many great one-liners, and really just the whole script overall is fantastic. I love this movie. I'm gonna rewatch it for many years to come. Definitely one of my favorite westerns to ever come out. Number 5, First Man. First Man is yet another movie by one of the greatest directors working today, Damien Chazelle. It follows the personal life of the first man on the moon, Neil Armstrong, who's played by Ryan Gosling in a very subdued yet masterful performance, and partnered with Claire Foy, who plays Neil Armstrong's wife. Of course, she also gives a heck of a performance. She's probably going to be up for an Oscar nomination. And then you throw on top of it technical perfection in the sense of directing, cinematography. Like, of course it's a Damien Chazelle movie, it's gonna look amazing. There's no doubt about that, and it does. I think this movie has a lot of really suspenseful moments. Obviously, back in the 60s, space exploration was very, very risky and stressful, and there was a great chance that these astronauts were never gonna make it home, and you could really feel the weight that had on Armstrong and his family, and it made the launching scenes so suspenseful, and when they do actually make it up to the moon, it's really amazing. Like, that's just where I have to give Damien Chazelle so much credit, because you know it's coming, you know they're gonna make it to the moon, but it still takes your breath away. So First Man was a home run for me. Damien Chazelle, so long as you keep making movies, I think I'll watch every single one of them, because you're amazing. I loved First Man. It's my 5th favorite movie of the year. Number 4, Blindspotting. So Blindspotting is written by actually the 2 main actors in this film. Their names are Daveed Diggs and Rafael Casal. And this movie is very heartfelt in a lot of ways. You look at how the 2 lead actors are actually the film's writers. They were giving it their all, both in the writing room and on screen, of course. I think both Daveed and Rafael did such a good job. I think Daveed is one of the most underrated performances of the year, as well as the whole movie, really. Not a lot of people saw this one, not a lot of people are talking about it, but it really is fantastic. I thought just in terms of the screenplay as well from Daveed and Rafael, they did a superb job on that level as well. There's several different scenes where they're rapping about their contemporary struggles, and I thought that those were some of the most riveting scenes of the entire scene. Daveed, his character, goes through so much inner turmoil, and it's really well expressed both in acting and writing. And all the while, this movie has a lot of really funny scenes, so there's really just a lot to like about it. It really caught me by surprise because I was not expecting to watch a movie this impactful for me and one that I enjoyed this much, but Blindspotting is a really good one, certainly one of the year's best, and more people should see it. Number 3, A Star is Born. So A Star is Born is without a doubt one of the year's best for me. It's going to be a movie I remember for a long time. And the reason that is because I find it hard to really find any faults with this movie. It's got fantastic songs, it's got great performances, it balances joy with deep depression, and all those emotional tugs that really get to me, coming from a combination of just great acting, great writing, great directing, you know, the works. You look at Bradley Cooper as a director, as an actor, nailed it in both of those given roles. This was another one of those directorial debuts I was mentioning earlier, and he's one of my favorite performances of the year. I think he should be in line for an Oscar. He was that good. Lady Gaga as well, she killed it. I think she's right up there with Carey Mulligan and a few others as one of the best female performances of the year. And it's got a soundtrack you can listen to over and over and over and really love all those songs. And it just gets to me. I mean, that last scene is intense. And this is a special movie. If you have not seen A Star is Born, one of the year's best, no doubt about it. Number 2, Annihilation. Annihilation is Alex Garland's follow-up film to 2014's masterpiece, at least I'm gonna say, Ex Machina. And this movie is similarly high concept. It follows a group of women that are tasked with going into an alien zone of penetration that is surrounded by this fantastical looking shimmer, and inside this zone things are destroyed, annihilated, and they're created anew, only slightly different with mutations. And throughout the entire movie you're questioning everything. You're questioning the motivation of the aliens. Do they have a motivation? Why are these things and beings and animals behaving in such a way? It's a movie you're going to be thinking the entire time, and even after its runtime is finished, I'm sure you'll be giving it plenty of thought for even the next few hours. I recommend seeing this movie a couple times because it sheds new light, it gives you a new perspective of watching the movie. So I love movies that can do that for me. I thought it was extremely interesting and a great watch, and there's just so much about this movie I love. It's got some of the coolest scenes of the year. The movie's also got plenty more things that I could talk about, but I don't want to be rambling about this movie too much. It's really just a fantastic watch. It's fun to just get inside what's actually happening in this world and sort sort of dissect it. Number 1. Hereditary. Hereditary is Ari Aster's first feature-length film. Go figure, considering how many of these we've had already on this list up to this point. But he shows such excellence as this movie is so beautifully shot. The first half is really like a family piece with themes of resentment and trauma carrying us through to seeing these characters dive into the world of paranormal and darkness that eventually overtakes the family. Hereditary is very off-putting, watching this family go through all of this, and then at the same time it becomes scary as hell, which I just have to respect because most horror movies that come out today are not scary, and Hereditary is very, very effective in that matter. You also have to give huge props to Toni Collette, very similar to Essie Davis in The Babadook. Her performance alone elevates this movie so much higher than it would have been with an average performance. But once again, Toni Collette, she gives one of the strongest performances of the year, regardless of genre or lead supporting. She is right up there at the top. And then it has to be mentioned, this movie has some of the craziest and chilling scenes of the entire 2018 movie circuit. So this is a really special one. It's not often that one of the genre's best of all time is gonna come out, but that's exactly what Hereditary is, one of the best horror movies ever made. Best movie of 2018.